Hey everyone, so today is going to be a big day with the garage. As you can see, it is completely empty in here, and that's because today this place is going to be transformed. We're getting it ply lined, and honestly this is a super exciting day for me. This is the day everything starts to look really cool. Now, to help with the ply lining, you may notice the boiler is now in a different place. Previously it was against the wall there. It was actually an awkward place, it was an awkward height, it was kind of lower than I'd want my workbench to be, and I didn't really know how I was going to deal with that. It was, a little bit of money I didn't need to spend, but moving the boiler over there, I would definitely regret it if I didn't do it. It's now higher, it's all in one place with the gas system down there, but I'm so glad I got that done, and it only just got done yesterday, and today it's currently 7:30 in the morning. At 8 o'clock, my pal George and Jake are going to be here, and they're going to be basically doing the work for me while I get them cups of teas. Now, as you can see, it is quite a snowy day today. That's where I parked my van. I hope they can get here. And the other thing you may notice is the skip has now been replaced with a whole bunch of materials. We've got insulation here, we've got plywood, we've got other wood. I'm sure George and Jake will know what to do with all that. But yeah, today's going to be a good day. I just need to wait for them to turn up now. Actually, first, the other thing I forgot to tell you about is I've gone and painted, well, I painted that wall. Some of the beams up there I've painted that one as well. I kind of figured a colour scheme, I'm going to want to paint the walls white when they're ply lined. I quite like having some grey accents. So I've painted the beams grey, and I've just kind of painted other things grey that might show up. So the concrete pillars here, they're probably going to be exposed, and I painted this wall because this is where my bikes are going to be, and I'm going to have the bikes insured, and one thing to cover that insurance is they need to be securely bolted with anchor like locks to concrete or brick. They can't go into wood. So I've painted this wall just in case we have to leave this exposed. Now my plan is I'm going to ask the guys just to leave kind of like a strip so I can bolt to the wall there and just have the rest wood, but we'll see what they say. Right, the next shot should be them arriving. Look who's just arrived. Right, so we have the guys here. We have Jake and we have George. They are from company Monolith, who make skate parks, which is one reason why I wanted to get them involved. If they can build stuff that can survive kids, adults, myself, throwing myself and my bike on the floor for many years, decades, then I'm sure they can do a decent job of my little workshop here. You may have seen these guys already. Certainly you may have seen their handiwork in Matt Jones's home riding spot. Do you reckon we could fit a little skate park in here?
I mean, put finger bikes or fingerboards, baby. Get Handy McCaskill down.
Yeah. By the way, I love the priority of these guys. The first thing they moved into the garage was a great big speaker to blast out some tunes.
That's the important stuff. First two things, speaker and a cup of tea.
I'm just going to leave them to it. I might come in and annoy them every once in a while. Now, I was talking to the guys about flooring, so I have contracted them to put in a ply lined, it's going to be an insulated, properly done ply lined floor. But I know a lot of people have said I should probably just keep the concrete floor and epoxy it or put pads down. Speaking to George, it's a no-brainer, just put a ply floor down. I'll absolutely love it, it'll be super warm. Having an insulated wood floor is just going to make my feet so much warmer. And it kind of makes sense that if I'm going to insulate the walls, the ceiling, the doors are insulated, it kind of makes sense to keep the floor insulated as well, because that's a massive heat sink. There's so much cold that comes from the floor. So they're doing the floor, but they're doing it in a way where normally they would do the floor first. This time for me, because in the future, just in case I don't get on with it, they're going to do the walls first and the floor last. That way it is possible to rip out the floor without disturbing anything else. So it's not the way they normally work, but they're accommodating. feels so weird just having like two of my friends here working away and I'm just kind of sat in a house, but I kind of want to cut at least one piece of wood at some point just to help. But I think if I got in here and tried to get stuck in, I'd probably be a hindrance. But yeah, I'm also really curious to just watch them work and see how it's done. But you won't be able to see it's in silhouette, but they have some insulation on the back there, so it's coming together. Some insulation on the ceiling as well. Yeah, you guys don't hang around. My office is on just the other side of that wall there, so I can hear all the drills going, all the hammering going. Hey, exciting.
Oh, absolutely.
It is your tea.
Thank you.
I've got a tea for Jake as well. You guys have been working hard. Look at this. The first bit of ply down. So it's when I see it like this that I'm so glad that I got people in who know what they're doing. I could have had a jab at it, I reckon. You know, some of this stuff, nice, straight, easy cuts. If I did it myself, firstly, I would have had to buy loads of tools I don't have or hire them. Learn how to use them. They've got a table out there and a saw with guides all laid out. I don't have anything like that. I would have probably made loads of mistakes. I would have had to probably buy more wood as I go and waste a lot of money. So I'm paying these guys, but it's money well spent, I think, to get it done right, to get it done quick and not wasting any money in ruining materials. I may have to ask them how much it would cost to get some shelving and stuff put in as well. But this is looking so cool. Can't wait to see it with more ply up. So like I mentioned earlier, these guys, well, you're skate park builders, aren't you? With monolith.
Curved surface specialists.
Oh, okay, curved surface specialists. Say that fast 5 times. They're actually doing me a bit of a favour with this garage build. This isn't really what they normally do. So if you are wanting work from these guys, stick to the curved surfaces. I don't expect they'll probably agree to do any more garage conversions, but for me they're doing an exception and I'm ever so grateful for that. Yeah, if I was doing this I'd probably all be doing these by hand. This is now the second day. Jake and George did about 11 hours work yesterday and they're now off to lunch after a busy morning today, and boy have they been busy. They've earned their break. Well, as you can see, they've ply lined a lot of this now and it's even better than I expected. Now it's not finished yet, we still need to box up around the boiler. There's some stuff around the door that needs to be done, but it's looking so cool. I'm really pleased that I painted the pillars and the beams up at the top. Although I will admit, and George says the same, it's a shame these beams are here. It would have been so cool to have just a flat roof all the way from one end to the other, especially because I want to have some kind of trolley rig system up there to have a camera that I can move everywhere, so I'm not using a tripod. If you've watched Inheritance Machining, that's pretty much what I want to have. But yeah, these beams are going to make it a little bit difficult to get the entire run of the garage. But it's so cool in here, and once I've painted the walls it's going to be white. It's going to look very airy in here. It's going to look pretty big, probably bigger than it was before, even though it is slightly smaller. And once I've got some lighting in here, it's going to be such an improvement. But it's only going to get better. After lunch the floor goes down and I think that's going to be a huge transformation, and I'm looking forward to that. Now, there is one thing that I hadn't considered that I need to deal with outside. This window, which yeah, windows are transparent, and I totally didn't consider that you'd be able to see the insulation and wood framing on the inside. So what I've done is I've ordered some white rubber paint, and I'm just going to paint over the window. That means in the future, if I do want to remove it, it should just peel off. And yeah, white because the wall is white. Added bonus that if this does crack, it won't fall apart, the rubber paint will keep it together. So I think that's probably the best solution for that. I'm kind of curious, how dark does it get in here if I shut the door? Let's have a look. Okay, that is pretty dark. Does this have a light on it? Is that charged? Yeah, there we go. So I'm gonna fall over here. That is pretty damn dark in here, so I'm gonna need some serious lightage in here, because you're not gonna be able to see a thing. It's kind of amusing how dark it is. Since I've done an in-person update, I kind of just left them to it and yeah, leave them to do the work. And what work they've been doing, this is awesome. And honestly, you've done such a good job, George.
Thank you.
Like, look, you guys, the boxed in boiler here with an added love heart. Thank you so much.
Done with love, innit? Everything. Always.
So now I can get in here. We've got the boiler in there, nicely hidden away, which is amazing. That is so cool. And that just makes the back end there so much easier to build around with a workbench. And that's the plan. I want to have the workbench in the back here. Once this is all finished, I can get measurements and actually design it properly. And I'm really looking forward to getting that done. While these guys have been working away, I've been speaking to two interesting brands about bike storage, and that's going ahead. So we've got an overhead bike system here. I'm sure you guys have guessed who it's going to be, but that's happening. And a bike lock manufacturer for anchors to go in this place here. So that's coming together nicely. And yeah, I'm so glad I got these guys to come and do this work, because this would have taken me weeks and weeks and weeks, and no one's got time for that, and the end result just wouldn't have been as good anyway. So money well spent. Oh, I haven't even mentioned there's a floor in here now. And yeah, like George was saying, the heat, even though we're wearing shoes, the heat is instantly noticeably different. It is noticeably warmer, even with shoes on, with the floor, with a wood floor. So yeah, so far, definitely the best move.
If anyone wants garage doing, we're not doing it again.
The next stage now is to paint all the walls and the floor, but before I do that, I'm gonna fireproof them. I've got some fire retardant paint. I'm gonna paint on here first, because I've essentially just made a massive bonfire right next to my house with all this wood here. So we're gonna fireproof it, paint it, and then get an electrician in here to actually make the electrics safe, because they're currently pretty sketchy. And then we get some lights in here, and then it's not pitch black. So still plenty more to do, but yeah, this is awesome.
See you later, Alex.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that's them away, which can only mean one thing. Yeah, it is completely finished in here. Well, certainly the ply lining is. There's still loads more work to do, but that's going to have to be another video, because this one's long enough already. But I've said this loads. I've said it loads. I'm going to repeat myself. I'm so glad I got those guys to come in and do this work. I'm so glad I painted the beams. So far, I'm so glad I got the wooden floor, because it feels awesome. There's my DJI shutting down. And yeah, I can't wait to get a workbench in the back here. I think, like I mentioned, the next step is the painting, but also the next step is I want to get the bike storage solution in here and see how much space that takes up, because if the bikes come all the way up here, then obviously that's going to limit how much space I have for a work stand. But if the bikes only come up to about here, that gives me way more space. So get the bikes in here, see how much space I've got left, and then I can actually design the workbenches, because I've got all the measurements now. So that's either going to be really stressful or really fun. I don't know yet. But anyway, you know the drill. There'll be a longer video released early on my Patreon, which is actually today. I've been editing as this work's been happening. I really hope you enjoy watching the progress of this being built. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, hit the like, give me a comment, all helps with the algorithm, and I'll catch you next time. Have an amazing week. See you later. Bye bye.